Hey Alexa, stop.
Hmm. Something went wrong.
Hey Alexa, stop.
Hmm. Something went
Not
wrong.
Alexa gaslighting me. What in the world? Anyway, let's go ahead and get the likes up to 8,000 likes because again, as soon as we get up to 8,000 likes, I will open up the panel. And if you are someone that wants to have a conversation about this, if you're someone that has an opinion, if you are someone that's on the right, I'm sorry, on the left, on the left, if you're someone that calls yourself a Democrat, if you're someone that calls yourself a progressive, if you're someone that calls yourself a communist, if you're someone that calls yourself a socialist, I got to talk to you because we have a lot of things happening and we can no longer sit around and continue to fight with each other. So I'm inviting each and every person up to the panel tonight because we're going to talk about, are we left enough? It says not left enough. We're going to talk about you're right, I'm right, we're wrong. Because everybody thinks that they're right, but we all can't be right at the same time and still make it to where we're trying to go. We're going to talk about looking good versus doing good. And I think that's a big thing. I think that's a massive, massive thing to talk about. And we're also going to talk about no complaints, just solutions. Because guys, we're going to be here all week on this topic. And not only are we going to be here all week on this topic, we will come up with solutions. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening up the panel. I'm going to start letting people in. And as I let people in, please, please, please mute yourself. Please, please, please mute yourself as I let people in onto the panel. And we will get started from there. Please make sure to mute yourself as you get in on the panel. And we will go around the panel and do introductions. Guys, I'm looking for everybody. I want to talk to everyone that's across the board. I want to talk to Democrats. I want to talk to progressives. I want to talk to socialists. I want to talk to communists. I want to talk to everybody that leans left because we're all responsible. We are absolutely, absolutely all responsible. So everyone is welcome. And we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and start going around the panel for a quick introduction. We're going to go around the panel for a quick introduction. So let's start here. Just Jordan. Just Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Just Jordan, are you a Democrat, progressive, socialist, or communist? What are you?
I think I lean more towards communism.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. Give me one moment.
Hmm.
Is it pronounced idol? I know it's MBW. Is it pronounced idol?
Adela. Adela.
Adela, I'm sorry. Adela.
That's okay.
Adela, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. Adela, are you a Democrat? Are you progressive? Are you socialist? Or are you a communist?
I think I know I'm a Democrat. I'm starting to look more towards progressive.
Okay, okay. Perfect, perfect. Give me just a moment here.
No problem.
Navy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight, Santana?
Wonderful, wonderful. Navy, are you a Democrat, progressive, socialist, or communist?
I would say if I had to put myself in a category, probably I would fall between Democrat and progressive, but I have voted for Republicans before too, so I go more on issues as opposed to party ticket.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, give me a second here. Brett, what up, Brett?
What's up, brother?
Hey, I missed you.
I miss you, brother.
Yeah. Brett, tell the people, are you a Democrat, progressive? Are you a socialist or a communist?
Ah, man, you know I say it all the time. I ain't nothing. Um, but if I had to like choose, man, I lean left.
You lean left. I'll take that.
I'm left, because these fools ain't right. So
Mm-hmm. 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 You know what's so beautiful, and I'm gonna keep it going because I'm gonna introduce everybody. But Brett, that's what the beautiful thing about this topic. Like no answer's wrong. And
exactly.
even the ones that I just gave you, like you just proved that it's more than that. Okay, give me a second here, Brett.
Yes, sir.
Alexis, how are you?
Hey, good evening. I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Alexis, are you a Democrat, progressive, socialist, or communist?
I'm a progressive independent that has
Okay,
never voted anything but Democrat or independent.
okay. Perfect, perfect. I don't know who this person is. Is it Kay?
Why you gotta be like that?
I don't know who this person is. Like it's a different profile picture. It's it's a profile
God
picture one
forbid.
day, it's another profile picture the other. Anyway, Kay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Kay, tell the people how you are a Democrat.
I'm not.
Kay, are you a Democrat, a progressive,
Um,
socialist, or a communist?
I'm a communist. Um, and after you finish introducing everyone, can I do a quick amount announcement?
You absolutely can. Give me a second here. Gucci, how are you?
Hey, Santana, I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Gucci, are you a Democrat, progressive? Are you a socialist or are you a communist?
Honestly, I'm a Democrat, but I am very far on the left.
Okay. Perfect, perfect. Give me a second here. And Lola, I feel like it might be counterproductive throwing this question to you because, you have it in your name already. But Lola, are you a Democrat, a progressive, a socialist, or a communist?
I'm a progressive. I
Okay.
actually used to be a Republican years ago.
Interesting.
I'm
Uh,
slowly going left.
okay. Perfect. Give me one moment here. Guys, all right. So we have, and I'm gonna put you back on mute for a moment,
Thank
Lola,
you.
because
It
you have
won't let
the.
me.
No worries, I got you. All right, guys. So we're gonna get into it, right? And I know people may be looking at the backdrop, and you're not seeing anything that's speaking to MAGA. You're not seeing Trump. You're not seeing, hey, the right. What are they doing? I'm sorry, guys. All this week, I don't give a damn about MAGA. I don't. I genuinely don't. The beautiful thing about the left is that we have so many people that fall under a wide range. And not only do we have so many people that fall under a wide range, we have so many people with different ideas. Now, that's a good thing, but also it could be a hard thing to actually deal with. And so this week we're going to take some time and we're going to deal with it because if we're not united enough to figure out what we want and how do we get what we want, hey, W's in the chat, Frey, there's no way in hell that we're going to be able to take on anyone else. All right, so I have a couple other things that I have to say, but Kay, do you want to do your mod first before I say all the things, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, just quickly, all the things that you're going to talk about for sure, but just to let the chat know, we are not going to pretend like a lot of things have not been happening on this app over the last few weeks, but we aren't here to talk about any of that tonight. Tonight, the topic is on the back of the drop, and if you want to get messy in the comments, then you're going to have to go. There are about 6 or 7 lives that are all pertaining to all of that. So if we could keep it on topic tonight, because that's half the problem is that we're all over the place. So just to stay on topic, and that's it. Like, we don't need to do any of the other stuff.
Okay. Hey, Debbie's in the chat for the black historian. Hey, Shay. All right, guys, let's get into it. So before we get started, just a quick reminder for the people on the panel, guys, please please use TikTok friendly language. What is that? TikTok friendly language means that we use words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19. We also use words like AB, all of those types of words that not only protect your TikTok, but it helps protect the live. Also, guys, please remember that this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms. Racism, sexism, classism. We don't deal with any of the phobias. Homophobia, transphobia, none of it. We don't play that on the panel nor in the comments. And speaking of the comments, guys, please remember, caps are for mods. Please do not use caps because they will draw my attention away from the panel into the actual chat. And I promise you this week, we need to be locked in because we got a lot of work to do. With that being said, guys, let's continue to do all the wonderful things to let the Tiki Talk know that we are in the building. If you are interested in actually joining this conversation, request up. I'm going to try to rotate people in and out as much as possible because I know there's a lot of people that would love to actually chime in on this conversation. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up as well. Let's get the shares up to 100 shares. And guys, last but not least, we do have a nightly donation goal. And Chris has actually started our nightly donation goal off with a bang. Chris sent look at the cat. W's in the chat for Chris, who sent a $5 donation saying, Santana, it doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. You mean so much to me. It's an honor to be your mod, but more importantly, to be your friend. I love you, my dog. Listen, Chris, you know how much I love you. I appreciate you. You are awesome. You are love. You are an amazing part of our community. Thank you for being here. Guys, we only have $245 left in our nightly goal. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Best way to support the live. Anything is accepted. Everything is appreciated. And if you're over on YouTube, first of all, what up, YouTube? What up, Twitch? If you're watching over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat if you would like to support the live, and I will read that out. And Nat actually sent a $19.99 YouTube super chat to say, sent you a galaxy and this. I didn't see the galaxy, but thank you, Nat. I'm sorry. Took the positively off my name into the orange man is no longer in office. But still, hold on, what does that say? But still love you, fam. Listen, Nat, you're still positively Nat to me. And you know what? We're going to be positive together. Thank you so much for that, Nat. All right, guys. So we're going to get into it. Again, we got to fix us. We got to fix us. And that's what we're here today to do. We're here today to fix us. So this is where I want to start. I want to start with, Gucci. Gucci, I want to start with you because you said that you're a Democrat, right?
Yes.
All right. Gucci. So break that down for me because being a Democrat, that's something that is interesting. The question that a lot of people have, and I guess the rest of the party tends to have a problem with Democrats is they're so close to being conservative, right? They're just over the edge of being on the right. So Gucci, can you explain to me, like, what is it for you? I mean, like, why is it that why aren't you further left, or are there certain issues within the left-leaning party that you just can't actually get behind?
I'm a Democrat just because, like, that's as far left as the political parties go. But I think I'm more left than like the average Democrat. And
okay, so you're not a Democrat.
Yes, I just vote Democrat.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry. So just so I'm not confusing. So, and just so everyone understands, because there's a lot of breaks within the left, right, and that's why it says the left. So there's four categories, but then you have people like Brett who said, they don't fall within the category. But, Democrats are, when you think of a Democrat, you think of Joe Biden,
Yes.
right? Joe Biden was an actual Democrat. He was very much almost a Republican. He was very conservative in a lot of things that he does. When you think about progressives, in my opinion, you think of people maybe like Cory Booker, right? that type of people. When you think about, socialists, you think about people like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And when you think about communists, I don't know, Kay, is there an actual person on the left, howdy partner, that has any type of political power? You said Cory Booker is not progressive. Listen, it's close. But Kay, is there anybody that you would consider to be a communist that has any type of actual political power? I don't know if Kay's there. Kay, can you hear me? Oh, okay, 1 second. All right, no worries. We'll come back to it. So, I guess Gucci, with that being said, thinking about that again, you said Andrew Yang. You think Andrew Yang? I don't think Andrew Yang is a communist. I think he wants to be an independent. What? I don't know. That's a really good question. Anyway, Gucci,
Yeah.
what's the furthest that you would be willing to go as far as the left?
As far left as I can go.
Yep.
The more I learn, the more left I am. I grew up conservative, Christian, and as I got older, I became a little more progressive.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I learn,
Thank you, Emma.
I think I'm just very liberal. I'm for all the liberal policies.
So would you say that you, let's say, would much rather completely tear down the governmental system and let everyone work as a community?
No, I'm not like 100% a socialist. Like I think like
Well, that's a communist, but so
yeah.
you're more so a socialist, right? You believe in social safety nets, you believe
Yes, I
in like
do.
all of okay, but you still believe in capitalism to some extent.
To some extent, yes.
Okay. All right. Give me a second.
Okay.
I want to come back up to Jordan. Just Jordan. A lot of people worried about the left, right? The quote unquote Democratic Party saying that they didn't do enough. Some people said that, they shouldn't have actually talked about transgender rights. They shouldn't have talked about DEIA. They shouldn't have talked about, quote unquote wokeism. Do you think that the party missed an opportunity by leaning or not leaning into those ideas enough, or do you think that they did too much and they need to actually pull it back some?
I think that they needed to lean more into them, personally, just because, like, so I watch a lot of political lives, and something very common that I hear, like, MAGA is their whole separate, like, there's no talking to them for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to people that were like, well, I used to be a Democrat, or I typically vote Democrat, but I just didn't like X, Y, and Z about Kamala Harris's campaign. A lot of the running theme seems to be that, like, she didn't really go, like, really deep enough. Like, basically didn't, like, only scratch the surface. And, like, there were still things that they wanted improvement upon. Now, I would say it's about a 50-50 divide between that and thinking that she's doing too much. But in all honesty, I kind of, at least in my opinion, and this is just coming from a 26-year-old black woman, that a major problem with the Democratic Party, or like how people perceive it, is that it's not enough. It tries too hard to be tolerant of working, like trying too hard to work together with everyone. It's like it's trying too hard to be the glue and try to come together with the other side. But it's like that's not a reality. And if you do that, you end up leaving out a lot of people.
Got it. So they're too busy trying to be the tolerant left versus actually doing the things.
Yeah, and you leave out a lot of people. You leave a lot of people vulnerable because you're trying to play nice with the right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to remember who said that they used to be a Republican, but now they have actually started voting with the left. Was that Alexis or
That
Navy or who
was,
was that? That was you, Lola?
yes.
Okay, Lola. All right. So, same question for you, right? I mean, Lola, do you think that because again, you've been on the other side of the aisle. You used to be a Republican, but now you're swinging to the left. And I guess the question better served to you is, do you think that the quote unquote Democratic Party needs to lean in more to those things that a lot of people think make us special, but yet the right try to vilify us for, as far as embracing the people from the queer community, embracing diversity, embracing, all of those other things. Like, do you think that they need to do more of that, or do you think that they need to actually focus on, maybe one or two things and, fill in the gaps from there?
I think that they should continue to focus on it because that's one of the reasons that I came to the left is the human rights for everyone and not wanting to go backwards.
Mm.
And I also think that in the election, they tried too hard to go right to like
Mm.
kind of be the glue. I feel like if they would have stood on their principles through universal health care in there, I think it's time to lean a little more left. They've shown that the majority of people, even Republicans, will support universal health care at this point.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. That's one of the things that I would love to see them actually target and go after even harder. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. Hey, Brett, got a question for you.
And I probably got an answer for you, brother.
Brett, as
Yeah.
someone on the outside looking in, you vote with the left now, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
call yourself a leftist or anything along those lines. Um, you have such a unique story and experience and history, right?
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of people, when they think about the quote unquote Democratic Party, the left, there's a lot of times where we kind of dance around doing the right things, right? They
Mhm.
they much rather look good than actually do good. They much rather look like they're trying to work with the Republican Party instead of when they have power passing pew pew legislation. They much
Yep.
rather, take their time and follow each and every step and make it seem like that they're not trying to, abuse their power and all the time allowing, rights to be stripped away from other people. Um, so Brett, I guess the
Yep.
question for you is, how do you feel like the quote unquote Democratic Party has done with doing good versus looking good? And where's that symmetry breaker for you? Like, what do you need? I mean, do you care about optics, or like what's your stance?
Well, obviously, I don't care about optics. You know me.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like the Democratic Party does the bare minimum, like
Mm.
the absolute bare minimum.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I've had conversations with like Chuck Schumer and all of these, big Democratic members of Congress, and they always say the same things. Well, if the Republicans, if we want them to vote with us, we have to vote with them and everything like that. Except when the Republicans have everything, they just run through stuff.
They do.
They get stuff done. Why doesn't the Democratic Party? You know, so I feel like if we had more, and don't get me wrong, because like there are some names in there that are amazing. Max
Mm-hmm.
Frost, I love
Mm-hmm.
Max.
Yep.
AOC. Um, excuse me. There's a lot of names that try to push, but we need more like them instead of your Chuck Schumers and your individuals like that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree and understand. I think there's a lot of time, and I think that's one of the most frustrating things that, in my opinion, happened with Joe Biden is that he was so worried about upholding the status quo and the norms that he didn't want to break anything. But again, the one thing that I respect about Republicans, right, is whenever they have power, whenever they have that hammer, they swing that hammer. It's not a good
Facts.
thing for us, but they're going to get their tax cuts because that's what they want, right? So,
Yeah.
okay.
It's there's a lot of talk, but there's not a lot of walk, I feel.
Mm, okay, okay. Navy, Navy, do you agree with Brett? I mean, is it a lot of talking, not a lot of walking, or do you think that it's important for the left to be the party that actually upholds the social norms and try to get us back to where we used to be as far as some sense of stability within the government?
Oh, ew. I would never agree with Brett. He's so gross. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, actually, I do agree with him because I've watched, as we've gone backwards, and to me, it's just not acceptable. Like there's certain issues like raising minimum wage. Um, I don't think the Democrats are doing enough. Like the Republicans have convinced the public that it's okay to make a person work two, three jobs just to be
Mm,
able to pay their bills. My daughter is in high school. Three of her teachers have second jobs
mm,
just to be able to afford to pay their bills. Meanwhile, you have CEOs in corporations that are making, right now, I think it's 324% more than their average worker is paid. Yet somehow we're told as the middle class, like anytime people say anything about raising the minimum wage, it's, oh, you're lazy. Get
yep,
another job. And this
yep,
is something that you see pushed on the Republican side. And I'm sick of it. There are just certain things that we should not be okay with. And I feel that the Democrats, when they do have power, need to push harder for these things because right now,
absolutely.
minimum wage should be at least $26. Look at Walmart. Walmart makes enough profits that they could pay every single one of their employees at least $26 and they
Hmm.
would still be taking home a huge profit. And it's the same thing we see with these big CEOs. These are things that I don't care if you're working at McDonald's or, Burger King, wherever the hell you're working, you should be able to make a livable wage. And when the Democrats have the power, they need to push that shit through. Like,
Mm,
there are certain things, it's at the point I'm like, no, we're not going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Put the
okay.
stuff through, people, you know?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Hold on, because now I hear you, I hear you, but I think that brings me to the next point, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, right? So you're saying put the things through, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody has different things, right? I mean, some people think that we should just raise the federal minimum wage, right? And that's good enough. Some people think that we need to go to universal health care. Some people think that we need to have free college tuition. Some people think that we need to completely defund Israel so we can make sure that they don't have the power that they continue to have. There's on the left, there's a lot of different things. And when it's so many different things, when you think that you're right and I think that I'm right, but we can't come to an agreement because we want our things. And if we don't get our things, then we're going to burn everything down. Then we're both wrong. So Navy, how do we decide what are the things to focus on to get some of the things that we want instead of none of the things that we want?
Well, everything that I would be focused on,
It's not about you right now, though.
well, I think
You
even
got
as
to
a
think
nation,
about that
though,
one.
well, yeah, but I mean, you look at other countries, other
Hmm.
developed countries, they have universal health care.
Hmm.
They're making a livable minimum wage.
Hmm.
These to me are fundamental rights that everybody should have. Now, when it comes to things like whether or not we're pulling funding from, Israel or Ukraine or any of those other things, that's when, yes, we definitely need to sit down and have like conversations and go back and forth.
But
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 the
Navy though,
issues of basic human
but
rights,
wait, because Navy, like you can say that these are issues of basic human rights, but to certain people, within on the left, they could think that like, defunding Israel is addressing a basic human right because of the genocide that's happening in Palestine, right? So there's a point where everybody can justify the things that they're championing as a
I
basic
get you.
human
I
right.
understand.
So how do you get there? Because I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like how do we do it?
I honestly wouldn't know on that end. I think that's one of those things where um, there are going to be opposing views, and I can understand both sides of it. Um, I think at the end of the day, we need to try to figure out a way to at least get people to a ceasefire
Mhm.
and then go from there. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I never feel like I know the right answer. I'm smart enough to know I don't know the right answer on things like that because seeing the history and what's happened on both sides, it's just such a long and gruesome history for both sides that
Yeah.
it's something that's going to take a lot more in-depth working with.
Hmm.
Um, and things like that. I don't feel like I have a right to impose my views on them. I feel like that's just not my place.
Well,
But I do
listen.
want them to stop the unaliving of each other
Hmm.
because at this rate there's going to be nobody left there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's my thing as far as that's concerned. How they end up solving it between themselves, that would be up to them. But I think from our standpoint, to just get them to come to the table at least and have a discussion instead of just unaliving people, because
Ooh.
that's just it solves nothing.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Hold it. Now, hey, you see how I pressured you on that one? Like I pushed you. I
Yeah,
pitch. Listen,
I'm
this is
being
what we're
overly
doing. We're doing this
yellow.
all
No, I'm
this
just
week.
kidding.
We're gonna do this all this week because seriously, like we have to think about those things. Now, Alexis, I saw you said in the chat you have to answer this one, which I was gonna come to you next anyway. So you were reading my mind, Alexis. Like, what do we do? Like, everyone thinks that they're right. Everyone wants their things, and there are certain people that are willing to say, "I will burn this down if I don't get my thing."
Right.
How do we do this?
Yeah. I'll say this. I'll try to say it from both sides. One of the sides is that I was an elected official for 2 years in my city.
Mm,
I was a city councilwoman
okay.
and was a Democrat between 2020 and 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And what I saw really then was real people solving real problems without a politicized nature. Because
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of cases, when you're dealing with city and town issues, you work with your neighbors in whatever political realm they live in to make sure things like trash are collected, to make sure that policing issues are addressed, and there tends to be a better general consensus, and not so much of the vitriol that we see at the state and federal level. And I
Mm,
think in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when these benches that the right formed at the local, state, even at the school board level,
mm-hmm.
I think as a party as a whole, we've ignored that bench and been so heavily focused on the federal government that state laws related to, infrastructure, state laws related to creating equal protections environmentally, state laws that, or even city laws that look at different neighborhoods and ensure that there's clean water and clean air and all of these things that we can all agree on is exceptionally important. And it gives people the opportunity to dive in, even when they don't think they have, you don't have to be perfect to be a
Right.
city councilor or a town
Right.
councilor. You don't have to have this perfect record and this great ability to be an orator. You just have to really care. And so if we galvanize our neighbors and we find those people in our neighborhoods that can step up to the plate at the state, local, and school board level, I really think we'll start to see some stars emerge that can not only fight for things that at the state level can do great good for the communities, but it can also shine a light on how those people can elevate themselves to the next level and bring that, I think, energy that the Republican Party has used for decades now, taking folks from those levels and then elevating them to further positions, either after they're a veteran or after they've served, and how we kind of ignore the folks at the state and city level that are trying their best but can't really, it's sometimes 5-4 or sometimes 6-3, but those
Yeah.
laws really matter too. Like policing laws are usually city level. It's city contracts.
Yes. So I think, you tell me if I have this wrong, because what I'm hearing is that we need to think, how do I say this? I don't want to say, I want to say, think global, act local, right? Put more
Absolutely.
emphasis on our local, and then use that to drive it upwards to like the state level and then the federal level.
I think that is something that the left hasn't really, I haven't seen the effort as much as I've seen on the right to make that a key part of not just like the platform, but of the fire that kind of drives that energy forward. And I think you're right.
Well, I agree, because then that's why you have people who like are literally willing to overturn the elections at the, the local level for the Republican Party, because they've injected those people so much into local actual politics. So I think there's something there with that.
I hope so. I hope people feel like not only can they support, their community members and also, push their community members to be better if they are in office, but also don't be afraid of losing a local election. If you're someone that has passion and fire and drive and, a couple hundred friends that can go out, once every couple years and really try hard, I think the money that you put towards those campaigns, the 20 or 30 bucks goes further to make sure that, you gave it your best shot instead of trying to put everything on the federal government to fix it when there's just not as much ability to communicate with them and not as much ability to kind of push or change them. It takes far less votes to change a state election or a local election than it does a federal one. It's just a numbers game at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start with Kay. And Kay, I'm going to keep you around for a little bit longer. But I'm going to start with Kay, and then I'm going to pass this around the board, and I'm going to have everyone answer this question, because I heard a lot from a lot of people, but we need solutions. And Alexis just kind of spoke to solutions, but we need more, right? So this is what we're going to do real quick. W's in the chat for Kiki. Kiki sent a $5 donation and said, "Good to see you back." Kiki, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm happy that you're here with me. Thank you so much for that $5 donation, guys. That means that we only have $240 left in our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And if you're over on YouTube, one, make sure you're liking the stream. But two, you can send a YouTube super chat, and you can actually help support the live that way. So, Kay, and actually Kay and Adele, I'm going to keep you two, and then I'm going to rotate a few people out after this, because there's a lot of people who are trying to get in on this. So Kay and Adele, I'm keeping you two for sure. But Kay, I'm going to start with you. Kay, we got Democrats who just want to hold on to power. We got progressives that want to actually see some change. They want things to get better. They want federal minimum wage to actually increase. We have socialists who still want to get the capitalism on, but they want to see things like universal health care, They want to see universal pew pew reform. They want to see all those good things. And then we got communists that just want to go ahead and abolish the government, right? I mean, we want to see a massive overhaul and change because this social experiment, this capitalism thing isn't working. So, Kate, how do we fix it? How do we bring enough people together where not only are we able to regain power on the left, but actually get to governing and achieving at least some of those things that people want?
So I'm going to keep my response short because I would really like to have somebody come up in my place.
Really?
Yeah.
Aw.
No. I want to respond to you, but
No, but I was gonna keep you and bring some other people in, but I mean, it's your call.
well, I want a voice amplified that I think has brilliant ideas, and I think if you look at the queue, you'll see who that is.
Oh yeah, I know.
So, but I think we're before all that. I think we're before all of these people want this, these people want this, these people want this, and these people want this. And I think that the first thing that people need to do is to find out really where their political alignment is. So there's like, you can go to theadvocates.org, you can go to a multitude of places and answer a plethora of questions to figure out where you are. Because what I've seen is like, and Gucci, this isn't like completely directed to you, but like you came in and you were like, I'm a Democrat. I've always voted Democrat. But when you speak, you're much more left than you think that what you would vote down that line. So I urge people to really first find out about themselves and first find out like what that means, and then go and read about those things that you are and do research and history and what's happened to your belief systems. I do think that it is really important for us to realize that the right doesn't have as many factions as the left does.
Yep.
It's like you're in the door with like one or, like two like things, and you're like, oh, yep, this is where I belong. And then the third thing is, I personally think that we need more parties because I don't think that there are enough as representative. I like the Nordic models, and I like other models of government because I think they're more representative of the people. And so I don't think personally this system is sustainable at all. This two-party system is just absolutely unsustainable because you have like horrible people like Jill Stein who resurface every 4 years to get their grift on, and you have
cicada, as Jamal would say.
Yes, as the smartest Jamal would say. Yes. So like we have this, so we have a problem with, the money that's in politics, but when we say things like we want to take the money out of politics, we can't do that until we're actually there, until we're back at it. And so we have a lot of times where we see like, somebody does something that's on the left, and I'm going to use Booker's speech for an example, to show the divide that happened. So he spoke and broke a record for speaking on the floor. Some people called it a filibuster. Some call it speech. Wasn't a filibuster. Wasn't stopping progress on anything. So then we had a huge, long talk about like, what did that do? What was that for? What did that accomplish? And so as it held up, the progress of them doing new votes or anything, it didn't hold up any specific piece of legislation from being passed. So like there are people who got divided upon like, oh, this was a great thing that he did. And, we're cheering him on, to people of the left being like, that's not enough. Yep. And then we see like the tour with AOC and Bernie, that's not enough. And then, like everything that everyone does isn't enough. And then it's always about the mishaps. So there was the whole news cycle on whether or not, a term should be used for the governor of Texas, and
Oh yeah.
and so then we're hyper focused on, like, again, the political correctness, but like, to that end, like, Navy earlier, when she was speaking, used a phrase of coming together and having a certain type of moment, which
Oh, I
that's
didn't even catch that.
super, like, that's not, shouldn't be used. That's very derogatory, and a lot of people don't know what that really means. So, and again, this plum colored person not going to talk about that, but knowing that that's like, so sometimes we hyper focus on things. So I think we need to, one, figure out who we are as people, research who we are, what our beliefs are, have representative, people for those things, and then we need to have conversations about, how we vote, what we put into legislation once we are back
Yep.
in some sort of frame to do so.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to that, Kay, and even more so, I love the fact that you highlighted that there's multiple flaws, but then also there's such an opportunity to actually do something special. But there's no way that we're going to do something special unless we actually figure out a way to organize ourselves. Um, so with that being said, Kay, I mean, if you have to leave, you have to leave. But I mean, I was going to keep
I
you longer.
I don't have to. I just really
I
would
can
like.
drop.
Well, yeah, no, I was going to
I'm
kick
old.
Brett out anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
I was just
You know
gonna get
what?
my cheap kicks because Santana got a big ass forehead, and then I was
Whatever.
gonna bounce.
Hey guys, Brett is like 5 feet tall.
Boy,
Brett's like 5 feet tall. So there's that.
if I'm 5 foot, you're like 5'4".
Whatever. Whatever. Brett, real quick, I mean,
Yeah.
is there something that you can say that like is a solution, something that we can actually do?
Yeah, quit being scared.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know, I see it all the time. And like I said, especially when I talk to these politicians, they need to quit being so damn scared. Because like I said earlier, the right, they get stuff done to the detriment of us all. So the left needs to come together and start getting stuff done and quit being afraid. And you just can't. And I know, listen, guys, I know that I am saying this from a point of privilege. I 100% know that. But when you've got nothing else to lose, what do you have to lose?
Yep.
So,
Yep. Hey, Brett,
yes, sir.
are you looking at the screen?
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thank you, brother.
My one of my best friends texted me because he saw a picture. He was like, what Pokemon card is that? I said, it's a 1 of 1, and that's all you need to know.
It really is. I need to make some more, man.
Yeah, yeah. Brett, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir, brother. Much love.
All right, I love you. All right, so we're gonna kind of speed run this through a couple of things, but let me just do these really quick, guys. Massive W's in the chat for Jamal, who sent a $20 donation saying for the lost ones, including that muted YouTube. Who muted YouTube? I'm confused. I'm not sure. I don't know, but W's in the chat for Jamal for that $20 donation. W's in the chat for Chase. What up, Chase? Chase sent a $5 donation saying, "Did you see Donald Trump as a Sith Lord on X post from the White House yesterday? It's wild how blatant that was. Listen, yes, they are openly admitting that they're the bad guys. We know this. They know this. They're leaning into it. We get it." W's in the chat for Chase for the $5 donation, guys. That means that we're only $215 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. Guys, there's 522 people hanging out here. We can definitely knock that out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, Santana Speaks 24. Best way to support the live. If 215 people send $1, we can close out the nightly donation goal. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you want to support over on YouTube, you can do so with a YouTube super chat, and I will read that YouTube super chat out. Okay. So let's do this. Adele, I'm gonna hold you because I'm gonna start with you when we get more people on, but I want to go around the panel really quick. Gucci, what do we need to do to what do we have as a solution? Like, give me a solution.
um, I think like getting people like more interested in voting, more interested in politics, because like Alexis was saying, like getting people more motivated to take part in the smaller elections, the local elections,
Mm,
because those ones matter a lot. Um, and honestly, I don't know how we're gonna go about doing that because that's like an uphill battle.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And Alexis, some motherfuckers just like ice skating uphill, but we're gonna figure it out.
yes, and which is why these conversations are so important, so we can like work through ideas and I guess figure out the best way to get people involved. So education, being
Mm,
loud about it, like Brett said, just not being nice anymore.
yep.
Um, as one of the ways I think that we can at least start try to improve things.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And to your point, it's the start, right? And
Yes.
we're gonna figure it out. And even more so, Gucci, I know you and I know you hang out here with me. This is not the only night that I'm gonna need you up here because
Oh, listen,
as
I
long
am off for the next 4 days, so I am here.
listen,
I am
this is
here.
this is a special week. I'm gonna literally normally I only do 3 nights. We're doing this Monday through Friday. We're breaking this down all week.
I will be here.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I'm gonna drop you down.
All right, awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yes, that was a Blade quote. Absolutely. Alexis, you gave one of the most succinct answers that I've heard so far, as far as like how do we fix it. I guess, Alexis, to kind of twist your actual original answer to push it a little bit more, how do we get those people from the local level to the state or federal level so we can actually get those things and get those people that are willing to work for the people? Like, how do we make that happen? Because a lot
Yeah.
of people don't get that type of money, that type of backing. They're not, bred for that. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the best questions that we have to put in front of ourselves as progressives, as Democrats, as independents. It is, what is the reason it's so hard to stay interested, galvanized, and even just knowing who the people are that can make those decisions? Because no one wants to think that that local elections don't matter, because again, each of those votes matters so much more, and that's again coming from someone that won by 50, like 50 votes instead of 500 votes. And I think it also is really about offering opportunities to folks right outside of the windows where, in this economy and in this day and age, we're told, hey, you have to immediately give up everything that are your hopes and dreams to move
Mm,
into a workforce
mm-hmm,
and start a family and do all the
mm-hmm,
things that you think would then, exclude you sometimes from serving in these types of positions. Because the truth is, like, when I left school, someone told me, like a professor told me, once you have the money, once you have the thing, it's really, really hard to give it up.
mm,
And because of that, you don't necessarily think like, hey, the best thing for me to do is to put my life or my family's life or my needs on hold for either the community or for whatever. Because it takes, it does take a village even to raise those small amounts and to give up your time for weekly meetings. And those things aren't sexy. It's not as cute or fun as arguing or as putting things out there that can really strike up a storm. But knowing how city and state budgets work, it was so effective to get people in those positions that have energy. And I am privileged to live in, Rhode Island, which is one, founded by Roger Williams under the belief of separation of church and state. So we already have a leg up in our belief system here, and in the ability to just meet people where they are, literally, because we're so small.
Right.
But I think one of the hardest things to do when we're moving people up, up those levels, is making sure that it's not necessarily about giving up your time, about giving up your space or your Wednesday nights, or whatever it might take. It's
Right.
about really knowing that, once every couple weeks or once a month, even sometimes, we are setting action in motion to get those things accomplished. And even when we don't win at those levels, there's a sense of pride knowing that you can try again without giving up, putting a mortgage down to run a campaign, right? And
Yeah, and I think that like that's one of the biggest things that we can actually do, and I think you're getting ready to actually go towards it, which is like if we can sustain victories without having to quote unquote take big money or
Right.
be backed by the millionaires and billionaires. I think that's a huge thing. So I think you're completely right with that, Alexis. But listen, hey, I'm gonna drop you down. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
thank you.
coming up and spending some time with us. And again, we're gonna be here all week, so I definitely need you back.
We'll be back. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. All right, we got a couple of people in the box, so let's do this. We're gonna bring a couple. Let's see, we got a couple of people in. All right, we're gonna get a couple of people in just a second. Lola, how do we fix it? What do we do? What are the suggestions? Give me answers. Fix it now, Lola. Fix it now, Lola.
I wish I could. If people would listen, we could get this fixed, guys. One of the things I learned from being a Republican is that they have a game, they have organization, they have goals. So the things they're doing to us now, they've been planning for 30, 40 years.
They have.
Yes. So like they are on it. And one of the people I follow in my state, I'm in a very red state, she runs with an organization called Dirt Road Democrats. And they take no super PAC money, no corporation money, because they're only accountable to the voters. And the thing we need to do is we need to get on every ticket, because she got on the ticket in her very red rural area. She knew she wasn't going to win, but guess what she did? She made them put out money they weren't planning on. She made them defend their stances. And each election, we can see the numbers moving. And I think that's what she meant by getting on the ground level. A lot of Republicans only move up because of name recognition. Most of your senators started out as the county collector or something like that on the board of something, and they got elected locally, and then they slowly went up the ladder. So the people in our House of Representatives didn't start there. They normally came from lower levels. So if we want to get progressive, we need to get people in at the local levels. And then this year they're the county collector and over Ward 1. Next year, they're running for House of Representatives. They're taking the next step up and just continuing to move, because that's what the Republicans do. They have people in from the ground up, from our school boards to our local elections, everything.
Yep. They absolutely do. And
We
I
got to
think
do
that's
that.
And not only do we need to make sure that we get the people on the ticket, but we need to make sure that we get the people out to vote. Something that someone once said, and it really kind of struck a nerve, is that Republicans, they always vote. Republicans, they vote, they vote, they vote. And that's why you see large swings, right? Because the left, right, they only vote normally about every 4 or 8 years, or really about 8 years. It takes a lot of bad things happening in order to get them out to vote, where Republicans are consistent and they they just keep going nonstop.
Well, I feel like Republicans, the reason they keep them consistent is fear. I don't That's one of the things I couldn't stand about being a Republican is they fear monger, and I felt like the left talks a good game, but they don't have enough backbone. Like they're too scared of everything.
That's what we've been saying.
And
Literally.
we have to find a way to get voters out without using fear, because otherwise we're them. And I think that's where we're finding the problems. We've got to find a solution. How can we get people interested? And I think we've got to start local.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Lola, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down. Thank you for coming up, and you're welcome back at any point this week, friend.
Thank you, Santana.
Thank you.
You have a great night.
I'm sorry I dropped you too quick. Thank you. You have a great night too. I'm so sorry. Okay, Navy, just Jordan. Do you two want to stay and hang out with me for a little longer, or do you guys have to go?
Oh, I can stay and hang out for a little bit longer.
Okay. Navy?
I could stay and hang out for a little bit too. However
Oh,
long you need me up here, I can hang out. I'm
okay,
enjoying
perfect,
this
perfect.
conversation.
Hey, okay, so let's do this real quick, guys. Massive W's in the chat for Justin, who sent a dollar donation to say, miss the lives. Listen, I'm so happy to be back, Justin. Thank you for actually being here with us. Also, W's in the chat for Anna, who sent a $5 donation, said, keep cooking, you're missed. Thank you so much, Anna. You are far too kind. You're absolutely amazing. Guys, that means that we are now only $209 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. I'm going to go ahead and grab a few people in. All right, so we're going to bring some people in, and then we are going to go to Adele because I have not gotten a chance to hear Adele yet. We're going to get a few people in. And what we are going to do is continue this conversation. So guys, if you're getting here and you're a little confused as far as what's going on with the background, why does it look different? Why is it something that, you know, is not necessarily something focused towards Trump, focused towards MAGA? It's not about Trump. It's not about MAGA. It's about the left. And how do we fix? Did you say no?
I'm up by accident. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you want to stay with us or you want me to drop you down? You can stay if you want,
Please
Frank.
drop me. Thank you.
You sure? Okay.
No, please drop.
I'll drop her. You so
Yes, I'm
cute.
sure.
All right. She said no. um, it's not about MAGA. It's not about Trump. It's about us. It's absolutely about us, and we're gonna figure us out. We are gonna definitely figure us out. But guys, I need you guys to do the good things. All right, tap the screen for me. Let's get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 250 shares. And let's knock out all the gift goals. And speaking of which, guys, W's in the chat for Kara. Kara just sent a $10 donation saying, thank you for everything that you do. Kara, you are absolutely too kind. Thank you so much, Kara. Guys, that means now we're only $199 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. All right. So, Adele, coming back to you, or for the first time or second time or whatever, I would love to hear your perspective, right? Because I heard a couple of different people talking about the fact that the Democratic Party, or the left, they're not strong enough. They don't have a backbone. They talk a good game, but they don't actually do the things. Do you think that's true? And if so, then who do you think they should start looking to actually do the things?
I love Michelle Obama, but when she said, when they go low, we go high, I feel like that's something that we need to stop.
That's something that hurt us so bad. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And another thing we have a problem with, we don't invest in political education. We only worry about voter turnout. For example, we're worrying about 2026, but do you see any candidates or anything being spoken about? We need to start now. Yes. How are we supposed to get the youth and everybody into this if we wait to the last second?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's, especially because I feel like there's such a power vacuum right now on the left, and there's an opportunity for so many different people to step up. So who would you like to see step up? Like, based off of your thoughts of what the left should be, who would you like to see kind of step into that power vacuum?
I love AOC. She's great. And from Texas, oh, her name just slipped out of my head. The fabulous Texas representative.
Who are
Oh,
you talking about? Because when you said Texas, the first thing I thought was,
Crockett. Isn't she?
Jasmine
oh,
Crockett.
Jasmine
Jasmine
Crockett.
Crockett. Oh my gosh, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
We need
Jasmine
her.
Crockett. Yeah,
We need the
she
younger
is dope.
guys. It's time to get rid of Pelosi and all the. I'm sorry, but it's time. Bye. We need to go to the millennials.
Yeah,
And maybe some Gen X's like me, but
yeah,
we need to
yeah.
go to the youth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, hold tight for me just a second here.
Thank
All
you.
right, so I'm gonna do this real quick. Dylan, are you a Democrat? Are you a progressive? Are you a socialist? Or are you a communist?
Uh, First of all, thanks for having me up. I
Absolutely.
am a progressive socialist, I would say.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. Give me just a second here, friend. Omega, Omega, what up, bro?
What up, bro? How you doing?
Good, good, good. Are you a Democrat? Are you progressive? Are you a socialist? Or are you a communist?
I, dude, I mean, we've talked. I think I'm a mixture of all three because, like, I believe in really far left ideology, so
Hmm.
I think I'll be a mixture of all three: progressive, socialist, and a radical.
Mm.
Or yeah, radical. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Sean.
Hey,
Sean, can you tell the people how much you love capitalism and all that good stuff?
all right, y'all. Let me see y'all later. All right.
Okay, hold on. So I guess just for the class, Sean, are you a Democrat, progressive, socialist, or communist?
I would say socialists and communists are the same thing, but yeah,
Really?
yeah, they're the same thing.
Okay. Hmm. I want to hear more about that. Okay, but okay, cool. So I want to actually take I have a specific question for you, right? And if you don't mind, I need you to do some heavy lifting for me because there's a lot of people that are on the left that have different ideas, right? And everyone thinks that their idea is the right idea. And so it speaks to the topic of you're right, I'm right. I'm sorry, you're right, I'm right, we're wrong, right? Where certain people are like, if it's not my way, then I'm gonna burn it down. If it's not my way, it's the highway. Sean, as the left goes, right? Understanding that at times we need to actually get something done versus getting nothing done. How do we do that? Like, how do we figure out what's the important things and how do we actually get those things done while not alienating the other people who still want their things done?
Um, well, there's a lot to that question.
I know it is. That's why I gave it to you, told you some heavy lifting.
The
Also, I know it kind of, goes against what I know you would think you would want to do, but
it's the whole idea of like alienating the other
mhm.
needs to be abandoned. You need to stop worrying
Mm.
about whether or not you alienate other people. Um,
Even within the quote unquote party.
yeah, absolutely.
Really? See,
Yeah,
but so some people would say that came back and bit us in the butt this past election.
well, sure, you can say that, but the reason why it came back and bit you in the butt this recent election is because Democrats Democrats don't know how to win elections. Like
Mm.
someone said something earlier, and they said that Republicans get out and vote. That's not the reason why Republicans win. Like, if you want to know the reason why Republicans win, I'm going to tell you, and it's going to hurt your feelings, but it's 110% true.
Go
The
ahead.
reason why Republicans win is because the end result of our system is fascism.
Ooh.
There is no other result of our system. In order to stop the system from becoming full blown socialist, as you know, the United States loves its capitalism. It has to do things in order to prevent that socialism. And so to do those things and to keep it essentially in the realm of capitalistic gain and to keep their donors happy, they're never going to get money out of politics because you, like let's keep it let's be so for real. You don't have as much money as Goldman Sachs does. You don't have as much money as I was going to say Wachovia, but they're Wells Fargo now. Wells Fargo does. You don't have as much money as these private donors have to give to these politicians. And capitalism is all about that Skrilla. I'm sorry, you're just broke. You're never going to get your policies passed because you're broke. That is how that works. And so thinking about alienating the opposite side, it means absolutely not. This is why it came back to bite you in the ass, is because when you're talking about alienating the other side, you don't mean alienating the fascists. You mean alienating the marginalized people. Like you just don't. Like when you have a campaign that panders to the right, people are just going to vote for the right. Kamala's entire campaign was, I could do white supremacy better than Donald Trump.
Let's talk about it. Sean, I want to stay right here for a second then. I want to stay right here. Let's talk about it. Sean, a lot of people had a lot of smoke, shall I say, for Kamala Harris and what she did or did not do. Where did she drop the ball? What was the thing that she really fucked up on, or multiple things where she should have swerved instead of zigged? Like what was missed?
Yeah, accepting the vice president nomination.
Really?
Yeah, she should have told that white boy, go F yourself.
Ooh,
like you can't
tell me why.
You can't spend your entire primary campaign telling people this dude is racist, this dude is racist, here's the racist stuff he does, this dude is racist, I care about black people, and then turn around and be like, well, we got to do what we got to do. That sounds mad familiar, doesn't it? That sounds like some shit that just popped off recently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little messy, but I'm just saying
we can't, Sean. But But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. It's just the fact that like you can't just go, oh, for the position of power and for the money and for whatever it is that you claim to have. I'm going to throw out all the principles that I said that I had and still think and have people still think that you uphold those principles. That's just impossible. That is actually just impossible.
I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about what Kamala Harris could have, should have, done, whatever. I've never heard someone say that.
Really?
No, it's not insane. Like, I can't say that you're wrong.
Let's imagine, imagine this, right? Like, you know me and how I am and whatever else.
I do.
And like the things that I do, I'm an open book. I'm very open. I tell people exactly what it is. People think they got gotchas on me, and I'm just like, everybody knows about that. Like that doesn't affect anyone. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
If I were to say this entire time, oh yeah, I'm a socialist. I want socialistic policies. I want I want to burn down the United States. I want to do this. I want to do that. Blah, 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 blah. And then for whatever reason, just for whatever reason whatsoever, I have, let's just say, a Republican friend who runs for office and he wants me to be his running mate. And I go, yeah, I'll be your running mate. You will think I'm full of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't believe what I had to say. At that point, it would just be, I'm a sellout.
Yeah. But isn't that like the dynamics of politics though, right? Like, I mean, it isn't there like some type of compromise? Who said that? Who said that?
I'm sorry. I'm
Ooh,
sorry.
okay. No, you're good. You're good. Hold on, because okay, hold on. Well, hold it for a second then, Sean. Just Jordan, tell me about it. Like, because, governing, right? It's about some type of compromise. Like, where's the line of demarcation when it comes to compromise then, just Jordan?
The problem with the compromising, because here's how I view it, and it kind of ties into some other parts of the conversation that we were kind of having earlier. We understand that trickle down economics doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
We don't seem to grasp that trickle down social justice doesn't work. That's
What do you
where
mean?
people. So okay, so I think that's where Democrats typically fail because they don't do things that are literally specifically meant for the most marginalized of people. And to be honest, Black women are usually in that fall within that category. And so the issue is, for example, we Democrats, they prevail at getting social safety nets passed, welfare or food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
But who ended up in actuality benefiting the most from that? It was white people.
Yep.
They get things like affirmative action passed in theory that are supposed to help Black and brown people. Who does it actually end up in reality helping the most? White women.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, they keep approaching things as if I design something to help the poor, that's gonna mean everybody in the poor. And it's like, no, when it comes to how I see it is that the country at its foundation specifically had laws and language that named Black people and specifically excluded us from doing certain things, from being certain things, from having certain rights.
Mm-hmm.
So to really counteract that, to really reverse that, we need things that are specifically for us, that specifically name us, not that just name a category and then hoping that it trickles down to us. That's where you end up. That's basically where you end up getting to the point that we are now. With this it's basically a lack of understanding of intersectionality. We basically get to this point where we're like, oh, if I do something that helps women, that'll include all women. And it's like, in theory, yes, that would work. But here in the real world, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually specifically target the roots, and then it actually does end up benefiting the collective in the end. So that's why I said this whole compromising thing. That's why I said earlier, the compromising is the problem, because when you're trying so hard to say, oh, let's all come together and let's all make a see if we can all win, you end up leaving out again people that are of intersectional identities the most, because they don't go in that compromise. They don't live in a compromised life, so they don't meet that compromise.
Yeah,
Jordan, let me ask you something, because this will wrap my point in a little bit of a bow.
I actually kind of wanted to lead people, because I wanted to lead people on a cliffhanger with you and then come back. But so don't give out too much, because I'm coming back to you.
I will. You can come back, but I do want to wrap this in a little bit of a bow, because we can talk about anything else, because I promise you I got some takes for it. But Jordan, this will be so quick, I swear. It's going to wrap my entire point to a bow. We talked about the issues with what I call just the electoral system and the capitalistic system that drives electoralism. And Santana asks, where does that leave the idea of compromising and the need to compromise with the other side? Jordan, let me ask you a question. What's the end result of compromising with fascists?
Exactly. The end result of compromising with fascism.
We all get a little fashy.
Yeah, fascism. Or as some people like to call, capitalism in a different font. Really, honestly. So basically, at the end of the day, you shake hands with fascists, you're allowing fascism. Point blank. Period. there's no compromising with that. So this whole like, oh, the foundations of politics is built on compromise. That's the problem. That's why we're here where we are, because
That's
of let's compromise and
that's
let's like,
exactly what I'm saying.
who am I
Okay,
compromising
okay,
with?
The issue
okay.
here, when you say, hey, that we're built on doing things through bipartisan ways, doing things in a bipartisan like way with a fascist just leads to fascism. The reason Republicans keep winning isn't because it's not because Republicans get out to vote. It's because the end result of the system will always be fascism.
Okay, hold on. Let's get more people in because I want to blow this out just a little bit more. Let me read these off real quick, and then I want to come to Dylan, and then I want to come to Omega, and then I want to hear from Kay again, and we got to hear from Navy. W's in the chat for Sean, who sent a $2 YouTube super chat. I know it's been a while. I apologize, Sean. He said suggestion: quit eating our own / call to explain. I'm not sure what that means. Call to explain. But yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said about that, how we quote unquote eat our own. But also there's more to that. That's W's in the chat for Sean, who sent that $2 YouTube super chat. Also, guys, W's in the chat for Jasmine, who sent a $5 donation saying, love everything that you do. Thank you so much, Jasmine. That is absolutely far too kind. Guys, that means we only have $194 left in our nightly donation goal. I know we can actually knock that out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Thank you for the well diving. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. All right. Dylan, come to you. Dylan, I heard a lot. I heard a lot there, but I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole you into where we were just going with that. But do you want to share your thoughts on that, or would you like to talk about, because something that I would love to hear about as well is the idea as far as looking good versus doing good, and optics, right? Whether it's we don't want to do too much because we don't want to look bad. Like, where do you want to go with it, Dylan?
Well, I want to address the first part about the
go for it.
You're compromising with communist or with fascism. I'm sorry. And I just kind of wanted to address that because when it comes to the left, I don't think that when there's inroads fighting within the party itself, if you call it the party of the left, I guess, I don't think there's that compromising of fascism inside the party itself. I think that comes obviously when elected officials are in Congress and they're trying to negotiate with the other side, which I would say leans more towards fascism than the left. So I think that's kind of where I think the discrepancy is there. I don't think that there might be a commonality.
Well, hold on for a second. Sean, were you making that distinction?
The distinction within in party and out party?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. No, I wasn't making that distinction.
I didn't think you were. I didn't think that's what you were doing, Sean. Dylan, that's not what Sean was saying.
So where does the fascism come from the left then? I guess that's my question to Sean then. Like where are you saying that?
Yeah, so there's many things. There's many things that I can talk about Democrats for. But one big thing that I want to talk about with Democrats, like within the party, that would be an element of fascism that most people don't even realize, because everyone's talking about, and I'm doing a lot of prelude here because
I hear it.
yeah. I'm doing a lot of prelude here because like everyone's thinking like, oh yeah, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Like, no, not at all. Within the party itself, I would argue that like most people who think that certain people are progressives are not at all, because they do things like snuff out third parties from being able to get on certain ballots or whatever. And I don't even believe in voting, but you can't sit here and tell me, like, look me in the eye and tell me that not allowing for independents to run for even local office sometimes is not an element of trying to snuff out a lefter wing party from gaining access to power.
I hear you. I haven't seen that honestly from the left in terms of not letting people run as independents or having closed primaries. I actually was born and raised in Idaho, where they actually had closed primaries, so you couldn't even vote. So like that's something that came from the right that I've always heard of.
Hey, who was? Wait, I'm sorry. Who was the actual? There we go. Who was the Democratic nominee for 2016?
What do you mean?
No. This is for Dylan. 2016
for the presidential.
Yeah, presidential.
Well, Hillary Clinton.
And who should it have been?
Well, she won fair and square. But if you're gonna make the argument of Bernie Sanders, sure, you can make.
Bernie got ran out, and that was the actual. That's literally the Democratic establishment keeping someone off the ticket that should have been there.
I was actually going here. Like if we want to talk about like what inside the party looks like with like gatekeeping and compromising to the right, like when you look at things like who did Tom, tell me if I'm lying. Tom Perez came out and said that the 2016 primary was rigged for Hillary Clinton. Did that not happen?
I think that question's.
I don't know if that's a facetious question or not, but
no. I'm trying to. I'm trying to say if I remember my events correctly. But did Tom Perez come out and say? Because I might be tripping. I might be tripping. But Tom Perez.
Let me fact check that.
Yeah. Tom Perez came out, and I got names all over the place. Tom Perez came out and said that the Democratic primary election was rigged towards Hillary Clinton, with Hillary Clinton given the ability to hire and fire campaign people who like run the campaign. I can't remember what it was. Campaign volunteers for the Democratic Party, and having control of Democratic funds and where the funds go to and whose funds they go to for the primary election. And they made that deal back in 2008.
He's, from what I see, it said he did not state that the 2016 Democratic primary was rigged in favor of Hillary Clinton, while he acknowledged the DNC fell short in earning voters' trust during the 2016 primaries.
That's not what I'm finding.
He disputed claims that the process was rigged. In interviews, Perez emphasized the need for increased transparency and fairness in future elections.
Yeah, it says that he stopped just short of saying that it was rigged. And said that he stated we have to ensure that we never have a repeat of what happened in 2016. The party was working for Hillary Clinton, so he didn't necessarily
working for somebody. Let's do this because he's not the only one. Sure, I was wrong about that one. Let's look up what Donna Brazile said.
While we're looking that up, can I just do a quick mod announcement?
Yeah, please.
We need to be at 125K likes in the next 12 minutes. So if you can put the timer up after you look that up. And then we're going to go to sub only after that. Also, if the chat cannot remain respectful, we can just turn it off together, because we're not going to do that. If some of you do not have an understanding of the topics that are being spoken about, I'm going to respectfully ask you to stop commenting and listen and to the absolute free education that's happening right now. And if there's any more, I don't care if you're a sub or not, you're just going to be gone.
So let's see here.
She gave her like joint fundraising agreement is kind of what I'm seeing. So obviously
called it rigged for sure. She called it rigged.
She not only said it was rigged, she called Bernie and said Bernie, I found the cancer, but I will not unalive the patient. What that meant is that you absolutely did get cheated out of the primary, but I'm not going to out this because it will lose us the election.
Now, to be fair as well, apparently she did walk it back later, and she said she clarified that it was biased and undemocratic, but it wasn't rigged in a legal sense.
If something is biased and undemocratic, then what is it?
Yeah, it's fixed. The fix is in. The fix is in. Yeah. But I guess going all the way back to the original point, because like Dylan, do you see the premise of what's being said? Because like, and even if you want to kind of take the long way around, what's the game called? I forgot. It's like a game where you have to like make all these connections to all these people to get to the point. Anyway, that direct impact, right? That decision to uphold a certain system that they felt that wasn't, fascist, has led us directly to standing at the precipice of fascism with Donald Trump, right?
I mean, that's part of it.
Six
Yeah,
degrees of separation. That's what it is.
of course. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. But I also think that the left, as like, I think we are in too much of a perfectionist type of a party, where we want too much of we want somebody that's absolutely perfect, that agrees with everything that we stand for as an individual, which with politics, I don't think you can ever have an individualistic mindset when you're voting. At least I don't think that you should. In order to form a better society, you should always think about the people that are impacted. I mean, I'm a white T man, so a lot of things, speaking from privilege, doesn't affect me directly yet. Obviously, fascism affects everybody eventually. But I think that people on the far left held Palestine, for example, against Kamala. I think that was one of the big things. I also think that commercial that came out, and I know Newsom kind of talked about this with Charlie Kirk about tea stuff and pushing tea stuff too much. And when Trump came out with that commercial that said, "She is for they, them, and Donald Trump is for you," I think that landed on a bunch of moderate voters saying, "Oh yeah, like he does care about us. She just cares so much about the tea side." And I think that's kind of where it fell short from. Not necessarily we're getting away from the fascism conversation, but I think that's kind of where she lost.
So wait, do you think that, because the first bullet point says not left enough, do you think that the party needs to lean into being more left or progressive, or do you think they need to pull it back some and focus on certain core issues?
I think going further left makes sense from my brain. But then again, I'm not like a moderate Democrat where I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm thinking about the other side and how they perceive it. Because there's a lot of people that have come from communist, or not, I guess, I don't know what you describe Cuba as, but people that and they fear that type of uprising again, only to vote for it again with Donald Trump. So I don't know if going further left would win elections necessarily, but you see somebody like AOC who was down ticket would get votes that people that also voted for Trump. So I would say that going further left doesn't hurt them, but it doesn't. I don't. That's a hard answer. Honestly, I don't really know the answer to that.
Okay. Hold tight for me a second. A couple of quick things. W's in the chat for Gucci. Gucci sent a $10 donation to go towards the nightly donation goal. Guys, that means we only have $184 left in our nightly donation goal. If 184 people send $1, we can close it out. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. We do have one spot open on the box if you want to join the panel. We will be doing this all week, guys. We're going to get into this conversation all week because we have to fix the left. Last but not least, we do have a counter on the screen to get to a certain number of likes within the next 6 minutes. Kay, how many likes did you say? Because I don't remember. I don't.
Sorry, I'm multitasking. 125.
Okay, so guys, we got 6 minutes to get up to 125,000 likes. We're at 82,000 likes. Tap the screen, share the live, knock out the daily gift goal, which is little donuts. And apparently we're in the subway, guys. Our subs have kind of fallen off the cliff. So we're in the subway. We got 6 minutes to get 2 more subs. And I'll tell you what, if we get 2 more new subs, not gifted, but someone that actually subscribes themselves, 2 people to actually subscribe, I will send out a free subscription to someone. Guys, if you haven't sent your daily heart me, go ahead and send your daily heart me. It's the little orange thing above my head, but you have to remember, not only do you click it to send it, but you have to claim it. So you have to remember to go back in and hit, claim in order for it to count. I see a lot of gray things or whatever. We need to go ahead and get the heart me's and everything back up. Keep tapping the screen, do all the wonderful thing. Hey, there's one. All right. So Omega, I want to come to you, and then Kay, I'm coming to you. Omega, what are your thoughts? Because we kind of talked about how, like, yes, you need to lean more in, or there's certain people that don't necessarily need. Hey, Debbie's in the chat for coffee and travel. What are your thoughts? Like, are we too left, not left enough? And is that, to Sean's and Jordan's point versus Dylan's point, like, are we shaking hands with fascism? Like, where are we?
I mean, I kind of agree with Sean and Dylan on the fact that we're that we need to start being the party of trying to cater to everybody. You can't please everybody. Even when you have a restaurant, there's going to be some people that are not going to like your cooking. I mean, that's just the truth of it. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that Democrats are so busy trying to please everybody, everybody in the party, then the center, the people in the center. You can't please everybody. They're so concerned with people pleasing. They have the Cheeto dust on their mouth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, you can't actually cater to everybody. You have to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. And you see, we have fell for anything at this point. I mean, it's like, I think the Democrats need to pick a struggle. I mean, the fact is that the Democratic Party and the politicians, they lack passion. They're too conventional in the way they think, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, they are so entrenched with this whole like legacy thing. People being there for eons. It's crazy when you think about it. Like, I mean, which America does no longer trust all that. They're like the party of establishment, and we really got punished for that. They're the party of establishment and decorum, which is good, but it's like, I mean, it's when you think about it, at the end of the day, people are like, what are you going to do for me? And the Democratic Party has, even though we have a lot of fancy and nice things to say, we don't have a solid answer because we're all over the place. I mean, and I think like if the Democrats really want to come back swinging, we need to take a good look in the mirror, and become the party of like the working class. Actually, being out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, and letting people know like I'm in your corner.
Yep. And I think that has a lot to do with it, right? Because there's a lot of talk around, what they will or won't do. And I think that goes back to the whole point of like, you said pick a struggle, but even more so, like, and they're so on the fence. They're so worried about being, offensive that they won't actually do the important things that need to be done.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think they're so focused on not going too crazy with political ideas. I mean, like, you see how long it's taken for trees to actually get on ballots, and be legalized in some areas. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like this is stuff that they should have been pushing a long time ago. I'm one of those kind of people. I'm for that what they do in Sweden, where they have like the needle exchange and all that kind of stuff, and like you get treatments to actually come off of rugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like those kind of clinics, and I'm that kind of person. I mean, I think in a way, like I'm far left where I think legalized, sex work should be a thing that we should be talked about. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
like
okay. We're not going far enough. We need to go further.
that's
Okay,
exactly, you're not going far enough.
oh,
I mean, like
okay.
y'all,
I get it. I get it. All right, so let's do this, guys. Just a quick reminder: we have less than a minute left to get to 125,000 likes. Methinks it's not gonna happen. We got less than a minute to get to 125,000 likes. It looks like we are getting ready to go to sub only. It looks like we're getting ready to go to sub only. So guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's get it up to 125,000 likes. Or go ahead and grab a subscription. Go ahead and grab a subscription. You can continue the chat if we are unable to get it to 125,000 likes. Kay, I want to come to you. I want to come to you, Kay. I want to hear
hold
your...
on. Before you ask me any questions, I think that these fine people have been tapping really hard, and we've made a lot of progress. And with that progress being made, I'd like to add an additional 6 minutes onto the clock to get us to where we need to be. Hey,
I would have done 2. Like, okay, let's split it in the middle. How about that? 4 minutes. How about we do 4 minutes? Can we compromise?
6
Or is
minutes.
that gonna lead to fashions?
It's gonna lead to fascism.
Sean, if we compromise on the time, would that lead to fascism as well?
If you compromise on the time,
yeah.
Listen.
I want the chat to be for everybody. That's why my position is to give the people more time.
All right. I think communists always want to give everything away. Let's sell the time. Okay.
You capitalist tendencies you got.
Okay. Okay. What are your thoughts? Because I kind of really agree, right? I mean, I think you kind of spoke on this before, but I would really love to hear your thoughts on, and I know you and I have talked about this before, the fact that the Democratic Party doesn't swing the hammer when they have it, right? They lack, and I don't know if it's holding up institutional norms or just hanging on to power or whatever the case may be, but they are so worried about looking good that they don't do the good. They don't go far enough. Like, what is that about?
Well, I mean, part of it is, honestly, I think it's... all right. I can handle your all's nasty comments, so you can be as mean as you want. Not only do I think
the comments scared, they wouldn't be able to do it. Anyway, go ahead.
Not only do I think that they're like scared to move and show actual progression, I think that across the board, once somebody is elected, they're no longer working for the people.
Hold on one second, Kay. Hold on one second. Hey, CA Tina, I appreciate all the shares, but can we not spam like that much? That's a lot. Can we? We're good on the shares, friend. Thank you so much for the shares. Thank you so much for the shares. We're good. No more shares. We are good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kay. Go ahead.
No worries. So I think that what's really happened is that when people get elected, and this is kind of just across the board, but they have stopped working for us. And it is, yeah, you have to take it to sub only now.
Okay. That was in the chat for Erica. Go to sub only now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Can I allocate my time to Sean for just a moment? I'm so sorry. I have to go handle stuff.
Yeah. Do your thing. Sean.
Yeah.
Okay, allocated the time to you.
All right, I will say this. I do want to ask a quick question, and I want to ask it to Dylan if I can.
Yeah.
Dylan, what policies are worth compromising on?
That's a great question. I think like universal health care, I think is something that you can compromise on. For example, we can go to like a system that Germany has in place, right? Where they do have a universal health care program, but there is private insurance for those who want to spend more. So it gives somebody a private option. So I think that's something you can compromise on. I'm not saying compromise on like just basic human rights, but I'm saying in terms of when we live in a capitalistic society, I think you have to give people those types of options when universal health care is something the left does care about.
What happens to programs that are compromised on, like universal health care, if you allow for things like private options? What happens to the public health care?
Well, you would assume that it would be, I guess, neglected slightly.
Slightly? Have you seen the VA?
No, I understand that, but I was talking about just in terms of a complete societal universal health care. The VA is specifically for a specific sector of the workforce, which was for veterans. So
Sure, but it's still like our military budget is the highest military budget in the world, but we can't seem to give meds to people who need them, who fought for our country. But somehow we believe that making a private option would be a good compromise for people to actually gain access to healthcare.
But let's be honest, the reason that we have the highest budget is not because that's going towards healthcare. That is going towards like private military contracts.
No, 100%. That's the point. There's private healthcare options, so they neglect the public healthcare option.
Is there any studies done in a place like Germany that does have what I just described? Do they do they see a fall off in care? Because that's what we kind of have to look at. We can't look at like a private, not necessarily, it's not private, obviously it's like publicly funded with it being the military.
It's exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about there being a public healthcare option and a private healthcare option, and the private healthcare option having better outcomes because people pay more money for those, and the public healthcare option, in which people cannot pay for private healthcare, have being neglected.
Okay. I hear you. I'm just saying that in my standpoint, that gives people the best of both worlds, whether you say it's neglected or not, or whether some things fall through the cracks or not. When you have a country as big as America, I don't think you're going to get everybody to go buy into one side or another in terms of universal health care. I think that because of the type of country we live in, there's always going to be that private side, unfortunately. I'm all for universal health care and health care for all. Trust me, I'm with you. Like Canadian system, cool.
It's just I'm gonna say something because you're not with me, but I'm not saying that to be an a-hole. I'm just saying you're not, because if you think that we can compromise on something as important as healthcare, and you think that there's things that we can compromise on, I would need to know what the purpose of compromising on those things would be, other than to just accommodate fascism.
Because it gives people other options, because not everybody likes a public option. They like enhanced
Why don't they
care.
like
Because
why
they like
don't they like
enhanced
public
care.
options?
Because they like enhanced care, because they can afford enhanced care.
Why can't a public option be enhanced care?
I'm not the one making medical policies, so don't ask me why we can't have the best care.
No,
Welcome back, chat.
It's a valid question, though, right? Why can't a public option be advanced care? In Cuba, they have advanced care for a public option. Why can't we do it in the United States?
I hear you. And if that was a possibility, and that like you have the top end care for all people, perfect. I'm with it. I'm here for it.
What I'm asking is if we're going to compromise, then there needs to be a reason to compromise with the bad people. And I need a valid reason to compromise with the bad people. What I've gotten so far is it hurts my feelings that we would have universal health care. Not your feelings, but just if you're talking about the right, it hurts my feelings that we would have universal health care. I don't care about that. I want to know a real reason as to why we cannot have universal health care, period.
I guess not really a question for me. I mean, I would say the reason we can't is because we aren't in a
chat Black Swan.
We're in a heavily capitalistic society, unfortunately.
Right. So this is my point here. If we are just holding strong to the fact that we are in a heavily capitalistic society and we are saying that we have to compromise just for the sake of compromising because of, I don't know.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I just fixed it, and I guess they decided to try to call back. Hold on.
You're good. Do you think?
Sean.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Okay, hold tight for me a moment, Sean, okay?
Okay, sure.
All right, and now, my sister, Sean, go ahead and finish your point.
You're good. I'm gonna wrap it up here. If we're saying that we need to hold strong to a system because of Izzat fallacies, then there's no reason to keep that system. Because if the only thing that you have is like a cognitive dissonance of saying like, yeah, this system sucks, but we need to uphold it because I like it, it doesn't help anyone else. And there's no reason to compromise just because people are afraid of what might happen if they get something good. That doesn't make any sense.
I hear you. I don't want this to just be a one-on-one back and forth, but could you compromise on? I think something that people can compromise on is like, for example, the DRUG word, addiction.
Absolutely not.
Yes. No, hold on. I think because I'm all for safe injection sites, right? I think that's fundamentally a good thing because it keeps those things off the street and it helps prevent transmittable diseases. So things like that. But somebody could be like, no, I think we should do this instead or invest in mental health instead of safe injection. You can compromise on that. That's something you can have a well planned out debate about and say which one is.
We're not talking about, unless you're talking about within the Democratic Party, which okay, fine, you can do that.
I'm saying from a federal level. I'm not saying from just inside the party.
Yeah, from a federal level, you're not compromising on that. Republicans want to throw anyone who takes DURGs into prison for the rest of their life, and like socialists and communists, we want to like just take away all illegality of DURGs, period. Like there's no reason that DRUGS should be illegal. The only reason as to why DRUGSs are illegal is to demonize black people, one, and two, because they're not taxable.
So I think we just hit an impasse, right? And this is what I've been speaking to this entire time. You have people that fall under the quote unquote same umbrella, but have such vast and different ideas when it comes to certain aspects. So this is what I want to do real quick. Quick announcement for everything. Kay, I know you had your hand up and I want to come back to you. I want to go to Sean, who's on the phone in just a second, so we can let Sean, who's on the phone, say whatever they have to say, and then we'll go from there. He said, what's his response? Silence. Guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 150,000 likes. Let's knock out the donuts. And guys, we only have $184 left in the nightly donation goal. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. W's in the chat for Sean over on YouTube, who sent a $2 YouTube super chat to say, hey, sir, can I come up and share some thoughts? You absolutely can, Sean. I'm glad that you said that because you saying that made me realize that I didn't have the Google phone service corrected, so we're good to go. Sean, the panel can't hear you. I'm sorry, you can't hear the panel, but they can hear you, and I can hear you. Sean, the floor is yours. What would you like to add?
So I'm the one who sent the one about eating our own, and
Yes.
and what I was getting at about that is we spend so much energy. If anybody in our party like slips up and makes a mistake, we find out about something in their past, we almost spend too much energy expelling them from our party, but instead of to their face, like especially like legacy media is CNN is horrible about this. I'll be sitting there watching it, and they'll have someone like Scott Jennings on who is just blatantly lying, and instead of going, you're a fucking liar, like just to his face.
Language, Sean. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
My mom watches late nights. Go ahead.
But no. Instead of like calling them, a liar to their face and just saying you're wrong, we spend so much energy just kind of like almost kicking people out of our own party. It's like it's almost like a purity test, and that's what that's what I've seen is hurts our party a lot. Someone that I'll use as an example is Al Franken. The senator from Minnesota. He did something a long time ago where he took a picture. It was an inappropriate picture. He had to step down from his seat because of it. And it's like, and he had already apologized for it. And so it's like, how long are we going to hold somebody that did something, and he was a comedian, and it was supposed to be a funny picture at the time. So that's my point, is we spend so much time going after, our own side instead of calling out the other side for blatantly, because that's all, they don't have facts on their side. So they just try to, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so cool. Sean, question for you. How are you listening to this live? Are you listening to it on your phone, or are you listening to it like laptop or iPad or anything?
I'm listening to it on YouTube on my computer. So
okay, so cool. All right, perfect. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to put your phone on mute and listen through YouTube, because I'm gonna have someone actually directly respond to you for a second, okay?
Okay, awesome.
All right. So put your phone on mute for a second. Navy, how are you? Are you still with me? Navy, are you still there? I think Navy might have gone night. Navy, did you go night? Did Navy go night? Navy going once. Navy going twice. All right, Navy, I'm gonna drop you down. Have some good sleep, friend. Jordan, I know you're still there. Jordan, are you still there? There you go.
Yeah, I'm still there. I couldn't find the mute button.
It's all good. Jordan, did you hear what Sean said?
I did, and I'm glad that I have a chance to respond.
Jordan, does the left have a problem with a?
Place where I have some good bars.
Yep. Does the left have a problem, like a purity test problem, or is it a situation where we should hold people accountable and call the ain't shit people out for being ain't shit? You tell me.
Yeah, so I want to say to Sean's point, I can definitely see where like that sentiment is coming from, and sometimes I share that same sentiment, but then I remember that so the best thing I can think of, if you have someone who in their past used, like, for example, racial slurs or something, and then it comes to light in the present, where, like, yes, it's like you want to believe that that person has changed, and you've maybe even seen actions and things that they've done to show that they are not that type of person anymore. it still doesn't change that someone was like harmed by their actions. And so because of that, it's like, yes, we're almost holding people to an impossible standard, but it's not really that. It's like, it's almost kind of like, well, you should be holding yourself somewhat to that standard, and you shouldn't be getting so butthurt if someone is pointing out your behaviors and how you are failing. Like, if your true goal is to get better and to do better, then you should already be doing that yourself. Like, you shouldn't be getting so butthurt when someone does it to you or does it for you. Now, I do think, like, again, if we see someone making genuine change and taking genuine accountability, then yes, by all means, like, welcome them in, and not, like, you know, forever hold their past against them to the point where you are saying that they are still the same person. Like, don't go to that extent. But constantly bringing up the past, like, these institutions of, racism, homophobia, misogyny are so ingrained in our society that you have to keep bringing them up. You have to keep addressing them, whether they are in someone's past or whether they could have potentially been in someone's past, because you have to constantly be on guard about deprogramming yourself from those things. So yes, do we have a quote unquote, like, do we expect perfection? Sure. Does that work to our detriment? I think so. But also, I feel like it only works to our detriment so much because people get so butt hurt and thinking like, oh, well, I changed. I'm a better person now. Okay, well, if that were really true, then it wouldn't matter to you how many people called you out and how often they called you out, because at the end of the day, you're standing on business and you're doing a lot better. Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah, 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 I do. I do.
Yeah, I do have to drop because I'm trying to be a
Okay.
good adult and get ready for work in the morning. I'm
Oh,
trying to
no
be
worries.
responsible. But yeah, thank you so much for having me up. I really appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up, Jordan. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Um, okay, I'm gonna put on this timer for t-shirt time. Uh I want to say something, and I don't want to open up a can of worms, but I really want to say it. I really want to say it. I, I really want to say it.
Oh, you know I'm gonna instigate. Say it. Say it. Say it.
No, one second. Adele, what are your thoughts? Do you think that there has to be a purity test that has to be reached before yeah, do you think the left holds a purity test?
Absolutely. I think we should hold people accountable for what they do. But at some point, enough is enough. If the person is proving that they've changed or they've done what they were supposed to do and are working on it, why is we still, like the last person said, why are we digging up the stuff from the past? If the person has proven themselves, they have to prove themselves that they have changed, then stop harping on it, because we need to work together.
Okay, okay. Um, mm, okay, hold on for a
I mean,
second.
unless it's something really obscene. If it's like, I don't know what to, obviously, if it's a peep, I don't even know what's the proper word. Obviously, that's forget it, you're out. But people make mistakes.
Yeah, okay.
Did I
Sean,
mess? Did I feel
Sean.
like?
No, 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 no. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm gonna throw this question in the air, and whoever wants to answer it can answer it. What is accountability? Because I keep hearing people say, and this is what's being
Okay,
said.
fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Listen. So this is the thing, right? There is a difference between accountability and a quote unquote purity test or cancel culture. I'm going to say this one time, and I am not trying to open up a can of worms, but it has to be said, right? And I'll say it directly with my whole chest. Z from the Unfuck America tour, she came back after not apologizing for what she had done, after pushing back and fighting, putting out any type of apology after so many people said, you fucked up and you need to apologize.
Yep.
And on a meeting with creators, since she wouldn't do the things, we sat there and told her, you gotta go. That we gave her 3 things. The number 1 thing was, you gotta go. And she sat there and said, oh, I don't understand why the left is always trying to cancel people. We need to stop trying to cancel people. And I was on mute and I came off of mute and said, this is not about canceling anybody. No one's trying to cancel you. It's about accountability. You fucked up. You need to actually take responsibility for what you did, and you need to work on those things. So it's not an issue of people trying to cancel someone and whatever. It boils down to the simple fact of the matter is if you do something that is wrong, then you should actually have to, 1, deal with those consequences, 2, work to fix that thing, and 3, actively work to be better every single day. There's a difference between someone doing something and then not actually having any type of repercussions, and someone doing something, learning from what they did, and actively continuing to work to be better. Those are 2 different things. I don't think the left has a purity test. I think the left holds people accountable when the right doesn't. The right, you can be on the right and you can be a rapist and become the president of the United States. There is no line of demarcation on the right. There's a difference between accountability and counseling someone, and we on the left cannot lose that mark. I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says. It's not about counseling people. It's about making sure that we do what's right and we be better.
Let me. I do want to ask this question to whoever says, like anyone who thinks that like the idea of holding people accountable is.
Oh, Sean.
Look at God.
Wait, though.
Look at Jeebus. Sean, are you back?
I'm here.
No, not you, phone Sean. We're coming back to you, phone Sean.
Oh, okay.
We're talking to my sister. We're talking to comrade Sean.
Can y'all hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I want to ask this question to people because when people say, "Oh yeah, we need to stop," because they say the left, so I'm gonna just say the left, right? Even though that means something different. But they say the left has this issue with cancel culture. Even if we do cancel people, like I just want to know, are you actually fighting against fascism or are you fighting for your comfort? Because if you're fighting against fascism and I, a marginalized person, feel uncomfortable with the people you're around because they're doing things that harm me, and you're fighting for the people who harm me, what are you actually fighting for? Are you fighting against fascism or are you fighting for you to be comfortable?
Because we all know that being complicit is just as harmful. Anybody want to take that? K, you take that one. Okay, Lee.
No, I'm here. I'm just having a technical malfunction.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I there's no other way to say it. The taking accountability is, to what you said, yes, and then to what Sean just said, there's no right to comfort. There's no right to comfort when you're not doing the things, and it's, I don't care what term you use, like if it's cancel culture or whatever, it isn't a purity test. The phone Sean is trying to talk about eating our own. You're not our own if you actually think of it like that. If you think it's eating our own, they're not our own. That's the problem. Like, those are not the people who need to be part of, like, society in general. But, like, listen, I mean, I feel that there are certain people that just, at this point, like, should just be on their own outskirts of society, that they don't belong anymore, like, with people who are trying to do, and even though, as like myself, over 2 decades in deconstructing, I will still always F up. It never actually stops. So if Sean or, Adela or, Omega come to me and say, hey, you F this up, then I need to work, because I don't have the right to comfort, especially because marginalized groups never have the right to comfort.
Holy, I'm sorry. Look at what Big T just put in the chat. Look at I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kay, but Big T just put a word.
Absolutely.
Whew.
Yep.
Whew.
A word.
Jeez Louise, Big T, don't be dropping fire in the chat like that. Okay, hold on. Phone Sean, a lot of people said a lot of things. I want to give you the floor back. What are your thoughts as far as hearing everything that was just said?
I completely understand, and Santana, I have just been caught up on the whole Unfuck America tour and the stuff, and the only reason I was able to hear the live, that the original live of what you're speaking of, was through another creator. I mean, I had to do so much like digging just to find out like what actually happened. But I'm not saying that Z deserves to be back in the fold at all. My thoughts are, you, Dean, Parker are 3 creators that are younger than I am, that I actually look up to, because you guys do hold people accountable, especially people on the right. And what's upsetting to me is just some of the reaction to like the calling for canceling of people like Dean and Parker, because of various, like, it's almost like people are looking for a reason, especially with Dean because of his past. And Dean has several times said, hey, this is the way I was young, I was stupid, it's not me anymore. And I guess my question is, or my not my question, but my point was, if we keep treating people like Dean like he was 6 or 7 years ago, it can drive away people that are trying to change. That was my point. It wasn't that you shouldn't hold people accountable. I think accountability is very important. Everybody should take accountability. But
can Phone Sean take a pause for a second?
At what point
he can't hear you, Kay.
And US,
yeah, hold on 1 second, Sean. Yeah, I know. Hold on 1 second, Sean. So let me say this. Let me jump in and say this as and Phone Sean, go back on mute for a second, because I think Kay wants to say something else to you as well. But let me just say this as someone who's friends with Dean and Parker. I know how they feel about accountability, and I know that even if, Dean was here right now listening or whatever, Dean would say that he wants to be held accountable. And anyone calling to quote unquote cancel certain people, like I think there's a miss as far as understanding when people say, they're saying like, oh, this person should be canceled because they did some messed up stuff, versus this person needs to and should do more. And even when you talk about Dean and Parker, right? They are young men who have such an amazing platform and have the ability to do so much more. And they know this, right? It's not something that's being missed on either one of them. They hear it, they realize it, and now they're saying, okay, we have to do more, right? And so I think that's accountability, right? That's accountability. Yes. That's the people who know that they can do more saying, hey, you guys need to do more. And then those people, Dean and Parker, saying, you know what, you guys are right. We can do more. We need to do more. And so that's what we're looking for on the quote unquote left, is for people to not be so combative when it comes to getting an opportunity to actually uplift other people. And that's what it's about. Kay.
So I know that Sean, feels that, or Phone Sean, let me be more specific. But I feel that they are missing the overall point and wants to bring up this specific situation that we're not actually even talking about. This conversation isn't about that. And I know that Santana brought up the, one person, and immediately from the one person who needed to be held accountable,
yep,
that conversation started with other names and other things that had nothing to do with what Santana said.
Nope.
So that's the problem, is that the person who needed to take accountability, who still hasn't taken accountability, and surely is never going to learn, because there's plenty of stuff that's out there that shows exactly who that person is. And that person is unsafe for everyone. Anyone who works with them, volunteers for them, and donates to that organization, I'm going to keep a list of names because she is harmful. But besides that, I'd like to, just because I know we're getting down to it, I don't want to address Sean anymore, because I don't think that that's a genuine question about the eating our own. Like, if you had to go dig around to find out what happened and to watch it so you could evaluate for yourself, and you just didn't listen to the people that were involved and those that were harmed, then you have a bigger problem, because people told you out of their mouth what was and what did happen, and you had to go look for proof for it. And that's just disgusting. So besides that, I wanted to go back to something that Dylan said. When Dylan came up on the panel and Santana...
No, because nobody was making a statement.
What? Sean, I don't really want to have a discussion with you.
That's why I had to go look for it and find out. All I know is all the creators that I regularly follow.
Sean, okay. You're missing it. I know you're listening on YouTube, but you're missing it.
So hold on. So, Phone Sean, I think this is the point that you should take away from this. Seriously, there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions, and there could be misconceptions, all this blah 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 blah, right? But the simple fact of the matter is that Z did something that was harmful, and to this day has not addressed that harmful thing that she did. She did not address her racism. So no matter whether you think she should be given a second chance, or we're eating our own, or it's cancel culture or anything like that, it is all a moot point, because she still has not once said, I fucked up and I'm sorry. Like, we can talk about anything else after that point of saying, I fucked up and I'm sorry, but she to this day has not said, I fucked up and I'm sorry. She hasn't even started there. And so you can't talk about not quote unquote eating our own if we're not actually willing to admit when we do something harmful. Anyway, Phone Sean, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you, hopping in. Please keep listening. Your phone, it's making a kind of weird sound, so I'm going to go ahead and drop you. But thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I wasn't okay. Thank you for having me.
All right, Kate, go ahead and finish your point.
Okay, so I just want to go back to something that Dylan said that has just got me. It's been thinking. So when Dylan came up on the panel and you asked him what he, was as his political stance, he called himself a progressive socialist. Did I get that right, Dylan, or did I mix you up with one of the other panelists?
No, that was correct.
Okay, and yet you sat here and had an argument about universal health care. So I'm going to need you to make that make sense for me, because this is kind of the problem where at the beginning when I was talking about understanding where your political values lie.
Mm-hmm. So I could be a progressive socialist and still say that there should be a private side. That doesn't make me not a progressive socialist in terms of the specific stance of universal health care.
I think that's a walking contradiction, but
how so? How so? If I believe that there should be a public option for everybody to benefit from, that's the socialist side.
No, that's not.
No, that's not socialist side.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Socialism is.
Yes, I know what socialism is.
Could you tell me, because I'm feeling like that's not.
Go ahead, educate me on this, because apparently that wasn't socialist enough.
No, we want to know what you think it is.
What do you mean? We have socialist programs in America today. For example,
no, we don't.
Public school is a socialist program.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it quite literally is.
No, it's not. It's literally not.
Okay, what is it then? Please educate me.
We just want to know what you think socialism is. I'll answer your question. I swear, I'll answer it directly. Ask Santana. I don't do the beating around the bush, but just tell us what you tell Kay what you think socialism is. I think that question's important.
What do I think socialism is?
Yes,
socialism is, well, I guess it's an economic type of, it's an economic strategy, I guess you could say, if you want to form it that way, in which taxes are used for social safety nets, such as Social Security, such as public school, roads, fire departments. Those are social programs.
No.
Yes, those are.
No, they're not.
Okay. Yep.
Infrastructure is not. I'm sorry. Infrastructure and using our taxes to do that on infrastructure, that's not socialism. You are very confused about social programming and funds that are used for programming versus the workers owning the means of production, which is socialism. So this is where, when I say when the left has a problem, it is because people claim to be something, but they don't understand it. So, and Sean is much more of the practicing, socialist, communist, same thing.
Phone Sean.
Phone Sean's gone, so I didn't think I needed to specify. I'm a communist that still has to, and listen, I'm old. I'm almost 50 years old. So you are not almost 50 years old. Shut up. I have a decade on you. And I have to live a life. We all have to live a life that is inside of capitalism. I do everything in my power outside of that to uphold the values that I feel that are very strong. And I think that education is one of those things, and I don't mean degrees, because that's not education in my purview. Like that's not what I'm saying. But you genuinely don't know the concept in which you're labeling yourself. So I'm just
But
asking.
that's okay. Okay, that's fine. Yes, I do.
I'm just.
But it sounds like you don't want to learn.
Debbie's in the chat from Hector and Naquan. Yeah,
I think it's important that we understand that, like, it's okay not to know something.
It
But like
is.
when you look, the reason why I'll answer these questions directly, because you asked questions earlier, and I just want to be as honest as I can and answer them. Social programs are not socialist programs. Like, social programs are just programs that are utilized to help the general public. Socialist programs would be programs that would lead towards a socialist society, meaning that the workers own the means of production. And the reason as to why, like, we have programs that are implemented in the United States that were stolen from Russia, stolen from Cuba, stolen from China, like, the reason we have that is because we realize that capitalism cannot work and needs to be propped up with these social programs. But the difference in the United States and why they're not socialist programs is because they are utilized to uphold capitalism, whereas in the USSR, in China, even today in Cuba, they are utilized in order to give workers the power of direct democracy within the workplace and the ownership of the means of production. That's why schools are not a socialist program, because schools in capitalism do not teach children how to be critical thinkers or learn anything new. They teach children how to be workers in a capitalist society.
Dylan, anything you want to say about that?
No, not directly. I mean, if you want to get into the definitions of socialism compared to socialists, I mean, you can look up those specifically. I mean, schools are publicly funded. They're government ran.
I pulled the definition up on. I put it on the screen. Did you not see that earlier, friend?
I did not know.
Okay, yeah, I put it on the screen.
The reason why public funded things, and we only got like 2 minutes for t-shirt time. The reason why public funded things are not considered socialist programs, especially within a capitalist nation, is because it's utilized to uphold the system of capitalism. Any socialist program, if it's a socialist program, it is moving towards the people in that program to own the means that uphold that program. So, like, a socialist school program would be a program in which teachers have bargaining power and can pick their own wages within a transitionary period between capitalism and socialism. Teachers cannot do that. In many states, teachers cannot even be in a union. So to say that schooling is social, is like a socialist program, that's bonkers.
Yeah, so I'll say this because there's plenty of people that are trying to get up, and it looks like they're kicking people out of the box. Guys, let's leave it here. We're gonna go ahead and get to final thoughts for the night, but I want to make something completely clear. This week we're doing this all week. This is normally I do late nights Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. This will be a full week thing because this is something that we really need to dig into. I really love how our thoughts are being challenged and how we're pushing each other to be better. And even more so, something I think that, Dylan, maybe you might want to take this back with you, friend. Because I think the only way that we can, one, figure out how to fix our party and how to actually do anything productive and be prepared to quote unquote take back power in 2026, take back power in 2028 is by not only hearing us or hearing each other, but being open and willing to accept new information from each other. I mean, there's no one up here on the panel saying, oh, I'm a conservative, and I'm voting for Trump or whatever. No, we're all standing on the same side of the field, and we're fighting with each other a lot because everyone has these wide ranges of differences, but we can learn so much from each other if we're just willing to actually take in new information. So I'll just say that, Dylan, like, I think that Sean and Kay was like really trying to give you some good stuff, and I get it. Like, it's not always easy to have what you think be pushed back on, especially in real time. But I really hope that you come back throughout this week and we can continue to flesh out this part of the conversation, because I do think that what Kay said is very important. I think there's a lot of people that don't necessarily understand what their quote unquote values are or what they quote unquote believe. But I think if we can help people define those things and understand those things, then we can actually figure out how do we connect those things with other people things, and we can actually make something happen. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to last words, and Dylan, I'm gonna start with you. Final thoughts.
Other than that, we had a very productive conversation tonight. I don't know exactly what you want me to say other than that, but
okay. Well, no, I always give whoever's on the panel within the ability to give final thoughts before I drop them down.
All I can say is I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, listen, come back, because I think this is healthy. There was a lot of pushback, and please understand that the pushback is only coming from a good place. And I really appreciate what you brought to the conversation tonight, and I really hope that you come back and we can do more of this week.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Omega, final thoughts.
Hey, well, in my opinion, this is the most important thing right here, is that there's no hope in finding mutual understanding or these subjective matters unless we agree on the basic facts. And the facts is that we're all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And you can't compromise on a solution if you can't even agree on a problem. So.
Golly. Okay. Holy shit! I like that. You can't compromise on a solution if you can't agree on a problem. Damn. Okay, that was strong. Omega, I appreciate you, my brother.
All right, bro.
That was a strong line. Okay. Adele, final thoughts.
I think these kind of lives is just going to help us to try to get everybody to understand where they fall, and then to work together. Because otherwise, we're going to have the same problem in 26 with the House and Senate, and we're going to have the same problem in 28 with a new president. We have to be clear on what we stand for and educate.
Yep, I completely agree. And hey, thank you for hanging out. You hung out like all live with me. You were amazing.
You're the best, Santana.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good night.
You as well. Sean.
Shit. Okay, there we go. Mute.
Mute button whooping your ass.
Right.
Sean, final thoughts.
Sound like a Trump supporter looking for a fact.
Yeah, looking for.
Yo. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm actually gonna say something. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say something that's not actually controversial. Well, it might be a little bit controversial, but I'm gonna say something that don't have much to do with the topic, but it does tie in, and you're gonna see exactly why when I say it.
I'll follow you. I trust.
So, I told my people, I be doing my lives and I be on, my people's lives or whatever else. Cause, Solid, my people, Jeff, my people, Kinsey, my people. I told my people the other day that I'm actually kind of terrified that Trump is trying to implement this this third, what is it?
Third term?
Third term, yeah. I'm actually kind of terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I'm terrified of Trump. You already know I don't care about Trump. It's because if he implements that third term, there is no way. There is just no, and if I'm lying, I'm flying. There is no way that if he implements a third term, that he is going to beat Barack Obama running for a third term. And I am terrified of another Barack Obama presidency. I am actually terrified. Barack Obama can enslave Philadelphia. And people will be like, yeah, but he had to do it. Just listen.
But did you hear him speak?
Did you hear him speak?
Did you see the jump shot?
Did you...
What other president you know hooping like that? I mean, am I wrong?
The jump shot is crazy, but
it's wet.
You not at all. You not at all. And I'd be like, yo. But that's, that's for me. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing, because it will be, because a Barack Obama presidency, and I'm gonna just say this in all confidence, right? To you and everybody who listening, because we family, we all we got.
We all hashtag
we all we got. It will be impossible to radicalize liberals into socialism with another Barack Obama presidency. I guarantee you.
We do like our comfort. We do enjoy our comfort. Yeah. Sean, something I said, let me tell you what happened. So I made a video yesterday, a YouTube video, long form, and I recorded for an hour with all the wonderful visuals and all this other stuff. And then I went back to listen to it and realized that for an entire hour, my mic was on mute.
No way.
I was so pissed off.
No way.
For an hour, I sat here and spoke into a mic that was on mute. But at the very end, I talked about exactly what you just said, right? And the fact that they're talking about Trump running in 2028, let's be clear. He's not beating Barack. But
not at all, not even close.
Exactly. But even with that being said, why, no one wants that. No one wants that for different reasons for you and me, but that's
course.
Not something that people want. And we shouldn't want that. So anyway, thank you so much, Sean. I love you.
I love you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Kay, give the people what they want. Got to give the people. Give the people
sing it
what
out,
they
I can
want.
go. Here go.
I'm sleepy. Go ahead.
All the W's for Sean. She is
For
amazing.
You, and Sean, you two are tag teams.
Well, which is why when I said earlier I want to drop, that was because I wanted to make sure that there was room for Sean to come up.
I know, but I specifically wanted both of you up here at the same time. That's why I wasn't trying to get rid of you.
I get you. But what I will say about what you two were just talking about, and that right to comfort that a lot of my people feel, is that when they hear that there's no way that Trump beats Obama in a third term, they're all like, yeah, they're like, we want him back. And to Sean's point, she's so correct. There's no way to radicalize and make change if that happens.
No.
And more people need to understand that, because it will just be going back into that corner of, the biggest, thing we hear about on the news is the tan suit. And everyone will be like, oh, he's so presidential again and we're okay. And it will make my people so comfortable
Wait, Kate, do you think that's what happened with like Joe Biden after like living through 4 years of Trump? And like yeah, like that's what happened, right?
Right. And so what happened? The right became more radicalized, said more things, did more, got more outlandish. And then their comfort is like what they want. And I think like people just became complacent in well, we'll just take this guy Biden and again, and we'll just, and then when, Kamala came around, like Sean said something that was very important to me, and that was like, that you and I have not always been on the same, like, of course, like if between the two, I'm going to vote for Kamala, but that like, I felt the same way. Like, how can you be like, this guy is all these things and then be like, all right, I'm going to join on, because it gave people a false sense. And so I truthfully think that, we cannot, I mean, the third term thing is just scary enough, but the third term, it means that we don't progress. It means that we stay stagnant in hell, and we just keep living in this. So I'm excited for the rest of the week. And my last point is honestly just, go out there, try to find where your values and stuff align, find out who you are in the political spectrum. And, you might be like surprised at what you find when you take a couple quizzes or when you start reading some stuff. And, I think we need to be way far more progressive. And I think we need to leave people behind who are sitting in that center right phase of their life and being like, I'm a Democrat,
That's who I want to talk to this week, Kay. Like, legitimately, I want to talk to Democrats.
Yeah,
that's who I want to talk
like
to.
to see somebody who's a solid Democrat who believes that they're a solid Democrat, and then be like, because when Gucci said it, I was like, I have heard Gucci talk so many times. I don't think so. Like, because like Gucci's for the people and Gucci is like for everybody. And I was just like, I don't think, I mean, you might vote that way, but like definitely like just value wise, the things that, they've spoken to have been, much more progressive. So for me, I hope that people will do that education, take time out, maybe, tomorrow before the live starts and just be like, holy crap, I found out that I actually lean this way. Or,
hey, someone asked a website where they can take
so
that test.
one of them is called theadvocates.org. You can go to like who am I politically, I think is another one. But you can just type in and be like, political leaning like test or quiz, and a bunch of them will pop up. Take multiple ones, read what they say, and then when they talk about where you land on that, go read about that and say, hey, is this really me? Is this what I am? Is this what I feel? Is this what I want for the country? Is this what I want for not like only me? Because most people on the left are taking it because they have broader views and want more people included.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
As a matter of fact,
yes, a political compass test. Thank you very much.
And that matter of chat, there's 400. There's 400. There's 413 people hanging out. You guys got homework. I want all 413 people to go take that test, and everybody come back tomorrow and tell me exactly what your test said. Legitimately, I want to hear from all 413 people. Every one of you go take that test tomorrow. I need answers. Mr. Mike says he's there now.
I'm saying that. All right. Well, you have a wonderful night. Thank you to everybody. I really appreciate y'all. Thanks for the likes and the taps. I know you're going to say it again, but once we, got up to 125, everyone keep, testing. It's a political compass test. Heath.
I'll put it on the screen.
And you can find any of the ones that you want of the political compass test. There is one at theadvocates.org that is pretty good. But there's
Oh, you can do one with Pew.
Yeah,
I would
you can do
definitely
one with
take the one with Pew.
The one with Pew actually goes more in depth and will actually give you hyperlinks to actually read about yourself.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe we'll close the live out a little bit early, and I'll take mine on live. Chat, would you guys like to see that? Would you guys like to see me take it live on live? Is anybody interested in that? Find out how radical I am? Because I'm radical. Free pizza for everybody.
I think that would be great because I know it would be way better than watching someone take a Mensa test. Okay, gotta go. Bye.
Fucking shots fired. Right, Sean? I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that. That was not me. Stop it. Somebody mute. No one's talking about 20 years of experience. You guys are messy. Holy smokes. All right, I got to get out of here before, you guys get me canceled or something. I don't know what's going on. All right. Guys, no, seriously. We're going to do this all this week. We're going to do this all this week because seriously, I've been thinking about this for such a long time, and we have to figure. Fucking stop. Chat, stop. You guys stop. Stop. Stop it. I've been thinking about this, right? And we have to figure this out because like I've thought about like the different possibilities, right? And how there's such a wide opening as far as who could actually quote unquote lead the party. But I think that I'm about to just I'm going to end the live if you guys don't stop. Matter of fact, hold on. How do I turn this? You know what? Ain't no way. How do I turn this off? Hold on. Hold on. I can't even figure out how to turn the chat off. Dang it. All y'all trifling. I got a trifling chat. Ain't no way. We're gonna do this all this week. Come back tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. I gotta get out of here because you all are just. Don't worry, Charity. If you don't know what they're talking about, I promise you, you do not want to know. They are. But yeah, listen. I love you guys. Thank you for all the. Said don't. Thank you for all the likes, the shares, the taps. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you guys for being here on my first night back with Late Nights. I love you all so much. Thank you all for being here. Go raid somebody. I don't know who's live, but go raid somebody. I love you all. And as always,